Okay, I think that we're ready to start. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome to this webinar hosted by Move Solutions. Today we're going to talk about Move Solutions' new IoT platform, MyMove, and in particular about its functionalities and the reasons why we decided to start this project. My name is Matteo Lencioni. I'm a product manager here at Move Solutions. Okay, so let me introduce Move Solutions to all of you guys first. We provide a complete package of hardware and software for structural health monitoring applications, and our solution is wide and comprehensive of both the static and the dynamic IoT devices, alongside a cloud-based software with AI algorithms and tools to analyze the data. What makes us unique is being able to offer I would say, a full stack solution that starts from the hardware and goes all the way down to the algorithms and the software. We work internationally, having customers in every continent. And it's from our customers that I would like to start our conversation today, and from their needs and feedbacks, because that's exactly what led us to the idea of developing a new IoT platform. Today we'll quickly go over the challenges related to managing a monitoring projects. What our customer needs from an IoT platform, and as a consequence of that, the solution that we propose. I'll show you MyMove, the way it looks today at this moment of time, and then I'll share with you a pipeline to give you an understanding of what's coming. So let's start from, assessing the problems that come with monitoring in general, structural health monitoring. Well, first off, let me say that, again, the conversation with our customers has been extremely useful because, again, we are hardware providers as well. So our customers are, primarily the ones that go on site and install the sensors. So talking to them on a daily basis for the past year is what gave us a pretty wide understanding of what the problems are when it comes to, again, performing structural health monitoring. And what we were able to understand primarily is that, most of the times when you have a monitoring job, whether it's structural health monitoring again, or if it's a construction site, or if it's an environmental type of monitoring, most of the times there's always, but there's a lot of different sensors involved in the picture, in the sense that, on the same job site, you might have a total station to check for settlement. But at the same time, you might have, tilt meters to maybe check the movement of a retaining wall, or, alongside piezometers to check for groundwater pressure, and I don't know, maybe an environmental unit to check certain environmental parameters. So the problems, one of the problems is definitely having a lot of sensors involved, necessarily coming from, different manufacturers, and, sometimes not having one space where you can bring all of the data together to then be analyzed and processed. So that was one of the issues. That was one of the challenges. Also, having a lot of sensors deployed on field comes with having a lot of data points to process, and that again, introduces additional levels of complexities. On one hand, having a lot of data, having a huge amount of data, means that it becomes harder and harder to outline the data that is actually interesting in that moment for the monitoring, because maybe there's some of the data points, maybe some spikes, maybe some behavior that the data had for short periods of time that is interesting, but it kind of gets lost in the huge amount of data that those sensors are providing on a certain basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. So for whoever is performing the monitoring, it can become hard to analyze that data and find what's interesting, what's worth looking at. On the other hand, having a lot of data means that, whenever you want to understand if one of the trends is that you're seeing on the platform on some of the data is related to other trends on maybe different sensors on the same job site, again, having a lot of data coming to a platform makes that operation extremely complicated and time consuming. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to this. So having as the size of the project grows, one of the main problems is having to spend more and more time analyzing the data, checking to understand whether or not there was problems with your structure, depending on what can be dangerous for that specific application. But the time that the user spends analyzing the data grows and grows exponentially, and so the cost of that operation is growing exponentially as well. So that's what brings us to I would say the needs that our customers were able to share with us, which on one hand is definitely being able to have a software that can integrate as much as possible, and I'm talking about different sensors from whenever you have an IoT sensor, being able to have that sensor one single software to then process it and analyze it alongside other sensors from other manufacturers. So that was one of the points. Also, to make the data analysis easier, one of the main feedbacks that we got is, it would be awesome to have a software that can help the user go through the data and kind of filter out those data points that are not interesting in that moment, and actually, on the other hand, outline what is interesting for the user to look at in terms of data. And also, another really, really important point that came out from the conversation, again, with our more trusted customers, was being able to correlate different trends from different sensors to then identify patterns, because patterns is something that it's not only hard to identify with the naked eye, but sometimes it's also impossible, because maybe you have a slight change on a data trend provided by one of the sensors, but it's not really clear what's going on until you're able to correlate that with maybe a similar trend in the same time period of different sensors deployed, on the job site. So, being able to do that makes it a lot easier for the user to, again, go through the data and come out with an understanding of what's going on with the structure. The purpose of all of that, of course, and that's the last point, is reducing the cost of the operation. So the cost of the monitoring and of course its efficiency as well. And that also goes into the direction of automating all of those processes. So that's why we came out with this new software, MyMove. The idea behind it, the philosophy behind it, is having a comprehensive platform that gives you the possibility to manage multiple projects, containing ideally any type of IoT device that you want to install on your site, being able to explore the data at a deep level, looking at every single one of the acquisition, but also being able to have a different level of analysis that kind of filters out what's not interesting. I mean, understands a level that understands what's interesting for you and filters out the data that you're not interested in, and actually underlines what you are interested in. And that, of course, I'm talking about algorithms that do that. And on the other hand, analyzing the data, so processing all of the raw data to then collect and provide other information that can have a a better meaning than the actual raw data has. So that was the idea behind MyMove. So going a little bit deeper into understanding the product. I mean, I'm going to show you a little bit of the functionalities that it has, and then I'm going to show you the actual platform. I'm going to share my screen. So first, let me say that again, every single one of the functionalities that we develop are the consequence of the conversation with our most trusted customers, and their feedbacks is extremely important to us on many different levels. First off, the user interface. That's one of the things that we've been told so many times. Being able to have a platform that is extremely easy to use, with respect of other platforms out there sometimes that require a lot of effort just to understand how to interact with the platform and how to use it. So we pushed, while developing the platform, we focused a lot on making it as much easy as possible to interact with. And also accessing the data has to be something that anyone can do, even if you don't have a specific training on the product. Again, every single one of the improvements is the consequence of conversations with our customers and feedbacks, with the purpose always of making the life of engineers and project managers easier in monitoring a structure or a job site. Another one of the points that I really want to focus on is AI and automation. AI specifically, when I'm talking about AI, I'm referring to all of those algorithms that process the data with a specific purpose. I mean, it's something that most of the times is something that the user could do, but the user would need a lot of effort and a lot of man hours to provide the same output that the algorithms can provide, but in a short amount of time. And more specifically, I'm talking, for example, about prediction. Prediction means that if I have a trend, I can have an algorithm that can be trained on that trend and can tell you, according to the history of that data trend, how that parameter is going to evolve in the next few hours, days, or weeks. That gives you the possibility to do something extremely interesting, which is being able to understand whether or not in the future, actually going forward with the monitoring, being able to understand whether or not the actual data that you're seeing at a certain moment of time, it's consistent with the prediction that was performed maybe a few days ago. And that's and that's extremely interesting because it gives you the chance to really anticipate certain phenomenon that you would only see with your naked eye later on, maybe when it's too late. Let me also say that alongside that, it's another one of the AI algorithms that are really interesting is the correlation. Being able to correlate different trends automatically means being able to look at different trends and having an algorithm that can automatically put them on a scale and say how much they're correlated, so the degree of correlation. And again, it's something that you would have to, it's something that most of the times is users would do just by looking at the data and trying to figure out manually whether or not the one trend is influenced by the variation on the other trend and vice versa. So again, having that automated can save you a lot of time in the data analysis. And also, I mean, going in the direction of something also extremely important is going in the direction of automating certain processes. So not only the algorithms, but also other everyday operations that you do when you access an IoT platform and look at the data, like creating reports and like all of that goes in the direction of making the life of the user easier when interacting with the platform and saving time. The last point is, I would say, openness again and customization. Openness in the sense that, again, maybe you have the need to deploy different types of sensors on field, that comes along with needing to have all of that data in one place, because most of the times you have different sensors on field, and then you have to access different platforms to look at the data. So it was really important for us to make that step of moving towards having everything on one having everything on our platform, from sensors that are MOVE solution sensors, but also that are not. And customization in the sense of being able to tailor the platform to the specific needs of every single one of the project and the needs of the user. So now I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you what it looks like. At the end, I will give some space to the questions. So I'm going to go ahead for now with sharing my screen. Okay. Here we are. Okay, so I'm going to show you a demo project. As you log in, you access a platform, a project management page. This is really important because whenever you have a lot of different projects, this gives you the possibility to have an overview of what's going on every single one of your projects. For example, you can see how many alerts were triggered in the past few days, and other information are being added as, like the sensor status, how many sensors are online, how many sensors are offline. That's because, what's really important is having the possibility to have a project management page that, like a level that gives you an understanding of your entire, system of projects, to quickly understand where there is something going on and where your attention should go. And then as you access the project, you are in a dashboard. A dashboard is a page that gives you an overview of that specific project, showing the status of the sensors, showing whether or not the sensors are online and communicating properly with the gateway, and also providing some information on the last alerts that were triggered. Again, this is one of the most important pages because as we are improving it, all of the key information are added to this page to make sure that once you access the platform and you land on this page, everything that is important is outlined at this level of analysis. And then you can go deeper into, then you can dive deeper into the data by going to the Data Explorer page. This page is where you can actually look at every single one of the sensors, and you can see every single one of the data points that the sensors provided. at different levels of analysis. For example, now we are selecting one of our accelerometers. So you can see the trends. The trends are, I would say, long-term evolution of certain parameters that the sensors provide. For example, every single one of these points is the amplitude of a vibration that sensor's collected, and there's a lot of vibrations that every single one of these sensors collect and send to the platform. So these are, I would say, summary information tracked over time, as you can see. But then you can switch to the acquisition page, and you can actually look for that sensor at every single one of those acquisitions independently. So what you can do here is you can actually see what that acquisition looked like, for example, modal analysis, frequency detection. As you can see here, you have an algorithm that is called FFT that shows you the frequencies of vibration of this event. Let me show you a different type of sensor. For example, this is a vibrometer where you can see, this is scatter plot, where you can see how data points are distributed in a velocity/frequency domain. So, on a general level of analysis, the data explorer is where you can actually, from different perspective, you can actually look at the data and dive deep into the data analysis and look at all of the data that all of the sensors provided. I'm gonna show you some more. Let me see a tilt meter. So these are the trends of the data trends of tilt meters. So this is what you can do, again, when you want to look at all of the data. But then on the analytics page, you can compare. So the idea behind the analytics page is actually being able to compare different trends. And I mean, it goes in the direction of seeing, being able to correlate data on a graph. So you can do, so you can create a new graph, and on that graph, you can, again, correlate, for example, an angle with a temperature from a tilt meter. And I mean, as you keep adding parameters that belong to different, type of measurements, the platform automatically understands how many y-axis needs to be added, for the graph to make sense. So it keeps adding y scales, giving you the possibility to correlate 3, 4, 5 different types of measurement on the same graph. So it's a really nice correlation tool. And here you have it on the analytics page. Something else that you can do is to look at the alerts. So the alarm page, it gives you an understanding, I mean, shows you all of the alerts that were triggered within a certain time range. Here it is. Alongside that, you have I would say a status monitor overview that shows you on the gateways and the devices the status of every single one of those sensors. So you can see whether or not they're online, the last communication when it happened. So it's details of the status of every single one of your sensors, and also the quality of the communication between the sensor and the gateway. There is a setting part that gives you the possibility to change of course, remotely, all of the parameters of the sensors. You can set alerts, alerts that are structured on 3 levels, which are called alert, warning, and critical, with an increasing severity. And there is a report section that we are, currently working on. A report section that will be released next month. I'm going to go back to the presentation. Yeah, so the reports is one of the most important, I would say, tools, because it automates processes that take a lot of time. Whenever you have, whenever you have a customer and you're doing a monitoring job for, one of your customers, it's almost always necessary to provide some sort of a report. So the reports for us is a key functionality that needs to be, extremely customizable. So you can create and overlap different trends. You can upload images to the reports. You can save the template, and then you can schedule the generation and sending of that report. So that's what it will look like, and it is supposed to be released by the end of this quarter. Okay, so now let me tell you about what's coming. So I showed you what the platform looks like right now. The platform was released at the end of January. So we have a long way ahead of us to keep working on the platform and improve all of those functionalities that we talked about. So the reports will be released by the end of this quarter, just to show you a little bit of what our pipeline looks like on the platform. Next quarter, we'll be working on the integration of third-party sensors. So again, we'll start bringing data on our platform from different providers. We'll be working on those AI algorithms that we talked about when it comes to prediction and correlation of different trends, and then future prediction of data trends based on a history. We'll be integrating the map so that you'll be able to deploy the sensors on the map as well. And then the Q3 will be dedicated to more advanced algorithms. We'll be bringing on this platform really advanced frequency detection algorithms like the FDD that will give the possibility to, starting from the raw data collected by the accelerometer, it will give us the possibility to detect the frequencies of vibration of the structure. It's an algorithm that we already have on our old platform, and that we'll be bringing into the new platform soon. And then we'll be working on something a little bit different, which is increasing the complexity of the alerts to go in the direction of, making the platform really useful with detecting, I would say, dangerous situations for the project. So, for example, you'll be able to set alerts on the combination of 2 different sensors behaving in a certain way in terms of data. So, for example, one sensor surpasses a certain threshold, and at the same time, another one of the sensor behaves in a different way. So this level of complexity will be part of the alarm system, to make sure that the customer can just customize, the platform at the beginning of the monitoring, and then have a system that independently provides those alerts that the customer needs. So just to sum up what we have said, what is the philosophy behind MyMove, having a strong algorithm base that can help our customers with analyzing and processing the data. Having a constant, conversation with customers to provide the best functionalities that we can possibly provide. Features that can be customized to meet as much as possible the needs of the project and who's using the platform. Bringing everything into the platform, so being able to bring different sensors from different providers in one place to be analyzed all together. And in general, I would say decreasing the cost that is related to performing monitoring and maintaining a monitoring project. I would say that's it for today. Now I'm going to answer some of the questions. Okay, let me see. I guess we have one question, which is, what type of carriage service are you compatible with? LoRaWAN. We are LoRaWAN. And like in terms of the technology that is behind the communication between sensors and gateway, that's the LoRaWAN. Do you guys have any question? With third-party integration, do you mean standard LoRaWAN devices? Well, not necessarily. I would say when I'm talking about third-party integration, I mean any IoT device that provides an API access, that's what can be on our platform. So I would say it's not necessarily standard LoRaWAN devices. Even devices that that work on an LTE connection, so broadband devices can be integrated as well, as long as their server provides APIs to access the data. Someone is asking, okay, there's different actors in the structured monitoring field right now providing the same type of services. How you're planning on differentiate MyMove from the competitors? Well, the thing is that that's true. There is a few platform out there doing something that in some way it's similar, in some way it's pretty much the same. What Move solution can provide that other customers that other platforms don't have is definitely the algorithms part. Now, I didn't actually dive deep into the algorithms that we already have on this platform because it was not the topic of this conversation. But when it comes to FDD algorithms and frequency analysis algorithms on certain type of structures, it's definitely something that we are pioneers with, and that's something that I mean, I would say that's the direction that we're going towards, really pushing on the algorithms that can bring us to I would say it's the damage detection algorithms and to the from I would say from the frequency analysis, we are currently working on different algorithms that go in the direction of doing damage detection. I think that's what other platforms are really not even focusing on. So that's why now we're building a base to then be able to go in that direction. Do you guys have any other question? Okay, yes, we do have both hardware and software solution. We have structured health monitoring sensors, static, dynamic, and then we have the platform, which is MyMove, but we actually have an experience of a previous IoT platform that we have had for many years. We invested in this project, and so we are transitioning towards this new software. Okay, how is our pricing model? Pricing will be based on would be sensor based on an annual basis. So there will be on a general level, there will be a basic, I would say a basic functionalities price, kind of like an activation cost. And then on top of that, there will be a pay-per sensor structure on a yearly basis. And different sensors, depending on how many data they bring on our platform, different sensors have different costs. I have some questions here as well. Okay, let me see. The system will allow manual data imports as well. API will be one of the technologies we're currently working on API, FTP, MQTT, and then just a standard CSV file upload. Being able to use your own formulas on the graph, that's something actually that it's not currently in the pipeline, but it's something I think extremely interesting. Although complicated, but it's something that we have been talking about. So being able to implement custom formulas on the platform. How do we handle outliers? Well, if you're referring to the FDD algorithm, we are able to, I mean, we have an algorithm that works on two different ways. On one hand, it is able on a daily basis to detect the frequencies of vibration of the structure, and then on the other hand, the algorithm is able to cluster, is able to be trained based on a history of data, and then it is able to cluster every single one of the data points collected in one day with respect of the history of that frequency tracked over the long period of time. So let me see. We are compliant with FCC, CE, and RCM. Well, yeah, I think that's it. Let me see. Where is your server located? What geographical location? Can you deploy locally? Our server, well, our main servers are located in Ireland, but we are able to deploy servers locally, depending on the needs of the customer. Whenever the customer doesn't need the server to be deployed on a specific country, we would use our servers in Ireland, but we are able to do that as well, to deploy servers locally in two different ways, both with a cloud solution, but also we're able to create an on-premise solution, so with an actual server without going through the cloud. Yeah, the total station is exactly our next step. So what we're working right now is we're working on the integration of total stations. Yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for taking part to this webinar, and I guess I'll see you at the next webinar.